Honey Boy is out, and I've been wanting to see the Shia LaBeouf's autobiographical film starring himself and a couple of actors playing a younger version of himself. He plays his father. Um, how was this movie? Because I've been looking forward to it, but also I feel like all the ads and all the trailers I've seen for it kind of leave me with a very like inquisitive feeling, like what's actually going on here.
Yeah, so Honey Boy is directed by Alma Har'el, who this is her directorial debut. She did a lot of music video work in the past, and it's based off a screenplay that Shia wrote in 2017 when he was in rehab. And it's an autobiographical story about Shia when he's like, I don't know, 10, 11, 12-ish range. Obviously a child actor at that time, and his relationship with his abusive father, who Shia plays in the movie. And young Shia is played by Noah Jupe, who we just saw in Ford vs. Ferrari as Ken Miles' son. And 20-something Shia, who's in rehab. And it's kind of the framing device for the movie because Lucas Hedges starts writing the screenplay. He's playing, of course, 20-something-year-old Shia. And it was not exactly what I expected. Like, I knew all, like, the behind the scenes of it all going in. I knew it was autobiographical, right? But when I watched it, it was kind of interesting just because I ultimately was left a little cold to the themes of the movie because it's ultimately a very therapeutic story that Shia literally was writing for the betterment of himself, right? And it seems to be he's in a much better space now. Obviously, he had a lot of substance abuse and emotional issues throughout his adulthood. So we're hoping that's a Turner's really been turned. But it ultimately felt like that therapy was much more harder to grasp and is inaccessible for the viewer. So it was kind of just a strange film to me. But there are some things you can latch on to, one of which is the performance from Shia himself. Again, playing his dad, who's a abusive, belittling figure to young Shia, who's called Otis in the movie. Really mean to Otis, but also really like empathetic to him. And you learn throughout the story that's because Otis's dad was a failure in show business himself, and kind of has this bearing resentment that he kind of takes out on his son, who's supporting him. Basically, Otis is paying his dad to be his guardian. He doesn't have to do it, but he's doing it because he likes his dad.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of heavy scenes, and I don't know if we get the whole other side of it. There's some really warm moments too, notably Otis's relationship with someone else in the hotel complex he lives. It's like a young woman played by FKA Twigs, of all people. And they have some really good scenes, but it's a little hazy on what they mean. Natasha Lyonne plays the mom in the story, but we never actually see her, just hear her over the phone. Or when I saw the credits again, I was like, where the fuck was Natasha Lyonne? I did not notice her at all. And then I was like, oh, wait, it's the voice. Got it. So
this
yeah,
movie sounds like every hipster's like wet dream. You have Shia LaBeouf, a screenplay, also starring in it. You have FKA Twigs, Natasha Lyonne. Like, who else is going to be in this day? Like, well, how much more Brooklyn can we get at this point?
well, that's the thing too, because you would say that and you'd think like, oh, this will be like really A24, right? There'll be all this striking cinematography and these cool use of colors. You really don't have that at all. It's kind of much more muted, partly because a lot of the settings are kind of dull. But yeah, it left me a little cold as far as a full movie, but I still think it's good. And the performances across the board are strong. So I think if you're interested in anything about it, it's worth it. But I think maybe if we had lost the framing with Lucas Hedges and it was just solely about Otis and his dad and not future Otis reflecting on his young self, if we had maybe been able to understand that as the viewer on our own, not literally have that told to us, I think that'd be better. But again, this is really, I think, Shia's really first foray into screenwriting. It's still a impressive effort. So unfortunately, no one's seeing this movie. It's made like $2 million. Another Amazon Studios flop at the box office. We keep talking about them.
Yeah, poor Amazon Studios, putting out good stuff, maybe not great stuff, but good stuff that should be seen more.